woman is behind bars this evening accused of killing a man near hiking trails in the foothills.
Well, she says she was defending herself after the two met up for a celebration connected to witchcraft. Christina Rada is live at APD headquarters with more in tonight's top story. Christina.
Well, police say the woman describes herself as a witch, and she invited the victim to celebrate with her in the foothills. Police now say that they are doing more research into her religion to see if it is linked to yesterday's murder.
Whisper in the night dark, footsteps in the backyard, shadows dance on stained walls, bloodlust every nightfall. Fear grips like chains tied, chasing you in moonlight. Eyes gleam with twisted clay, no escape from me.
What up, home slices, home fries, and homes of other varieties? I almost forgot my saying. This is a great start for this video. Hi, if you're new, welcome. I'm Emily the Fine Art Medium. I am a psychic medium who specializes in the paranormal, and I have a degree in social deviance, so yay! And today's video we are going to be covering the witch, or Wiccan allegedly, who murdered a man, and this took place in 2010 in New Mexico. We're going to decide if this was paranormal, psychological, or both. And yeah, so let's get into the case details. Angela Sanford, a self-identified Wiccan, is accused of murdering Joel Leyva during a purported Wiccan ritual. Leyva was found with 13 stab wounds. Sanford was apprehended at the scene in her underwear. The incident has drawn attention from conservative Christian groups who have long accused Wiccans of engaging in harmful or dangerous practices. However, the details of the case suggest a more complex narrative. Authorities allege that a self-proclaimed witch, Angela Sanford, murdered a man she had invited to a Wiccan spring celebration called Beltane. Now, if you don't know what Beltane is, it is a Wiccan festival celebrated on or around May 1st. It marks the beginning of summer and is associated with fertility, growth, and the blossoms of nature. And the key themes and rituals are fire, often a central element symbolizing warmth, energy, and purification. Bonfires are common. Maple, a traditional symbol of spring and fertility, often decorated with ribbons and danced around. Fertility. Beltane is a time to celebrate the abundance of the earth and the power of creation. Love and passion. The festival is often associated with romantic love and sexuality. Nature spirits. Some Wiccans believe that nature spirits are particularly active during Beltane and honor them in their rituals. Beltane is a time of celebration, joy, and connection to the natural world. It is a festival that varies in its specific practices and traditions, depending on different Wiccan traditions and individual beliefs. According to police, Sanford lured Joel Leyva to a remote location in the Sandia Mountains and stabbed him multiple times with a ceremonial knife. Sanford claims that Leyva attacked her first, threatening her with the knife. However, police investigations and witness testimonies contradict her account. The coroner's report indicates that Leyva suffered numerous stab wounds, and there is no evidence to support Sanford's claim of self-defense. According to the police report, Angela Sanford claimed that the dagger was intended for use in a Wiccan ritual. She stated that she feared Leyva was going to assault her and decided to deceive him into believing she was interested in seducing him. After freeing herself from his restraints, Sanford allegedly overpowered Leyva and stabbed him 3 times in the abdomen. Additionally, witnesses report seeing Sanford in her underwear, claiming to have been the R word that rhymes with graped, but did not hear any signs of struggle. A local Wiccan practitioner, Linda Owl, also disputes Sanford's version of the events, stating that specific Wiccan ceremony she claimed to be celebrating typically occurs in late April or May. Sanford is currently being held on a significant bond as authorities continue to investigate the motive behind the murder. While Sanford's involvement in the crime is undeniable, the specifics of the incident and her motivations remain under investigation. The case highlights the ongoing tension between religious groups and the challenges of understanding and respecting diverse beliefs and practices. Patrick Davis, a spokesperson for the district attorney's office, revealed that a detective examining Sanford's cell phone discovered Leyva's contact listed under the disturbing label sacrifice. This finding, coupled with the inconsistencies in her self-defense claim, has strengthened prosecutors' beliefs that there is more to the story than she is admitting. The evidence against Sanford continued to mount, ultimately leading to a year-long trial and a subsequent conviction. She was sentenced to the maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so let's talk about it. Now, this case is getting a lot of flack from different communities, from the pagans, from the Wiccans, from the Christians. Christians like to say, oh, everything is witchcraft, or Wiccan is bad. And they just kind of like throw Wiccan under witchcraft and like bad things related to witchcraft when that is not true. And then you have the Wiccan saying like, we don't do sacrifices, so I don't know what she was practicing. And then, you got the pagans, like, you were practicing something, but, you're giving us a bad name over here. So, there's some controversies, as you know. And I said this in my last video, that witchcraft is a broad category that covers so many different practices and so many different cultures. And, yeah. And Wiccan is very similar to that idea. There's many different practices that you can consider to fall under the Wiccan branch. But sacrificing animals and people, anything living, modern Wiccan doesn't follow that. If anything, that would be disrespectful, because Wicca kind of is more about respecting nature. They're more respectful to living things. So, yes. But let's talk about what she might have been practicing, because it definitely wasn't Wiccan. Alright, so just from doing the research and stuff, there's not much information on her. There's no psyche evaluation. Like, a lot of the stuff is private in terms of, like, what law enforcement has put out. Like, there's not much that they put out. But I did some channeling because I knew this was not just mental health related. I knew there was some other things going on there. And maybe by the title and the case information, you probably come to that conclusion as well. So first things first. Now, it could be obvious, but I'm going to say this anyway, but the vibe I was getting, and this is the vibe that many people were getting, she wasn't there celebrating what she claimed to be celebrating, especially because the dates of the things she was trying to celebrate don't match up into the time span she was doing the murder. So yeah, that was just a cover. And I feel like it was premeditated. I feel like she was on the lookout for a specific target, someone that she could easily manipulate, and someone that she could easily overpower. But this was somebody, like, she was searching for somebody. And premeditated, duh. She had the person's name in the phone as sacrifice. Yeah, no. That's not a good look. And honestly, the vibe she was giving was like Black Widow or praying mantis, especially when they mate and they unalive their mating partner. Yeah. I suspect she was either practicing dark occult magic or working with or communicating with something that was very dark. It could have pretended to be not dark and she might not have known, or she knew, but the thing she was in communication with was dark. And I saw quite a few things, actually. And it feels like she was being influenced by something extremely dark to do this murder, because if she did, she would get something out of it. It was kind of like a price that needed to be paid. And it was giving Jennifer's body vibes, you know, like in the movie where she was killing the men. Yeah, that's what it felt like. And strangely, so I was trying to put a lot of emphasis on her, or my focus on her, because I wanted to see specifically what was attached to her. But what I saw, unfortunately, I was seeing the crime scene where the murder took place, and I did see Joel there as a fractal, so part of his energy was fractured, and I see it sitting up against a tree, like leaning, and it's really sad. And then I see parasitic bug entities feeding off of that residual energy. It makes me really sad. It's so messed up. I was also getting the feeling of addiction or substance abuse in her case, alleged, because everything is alleged in this video. And I had a vision of a woman paging through a book, an old book, like a brown leather book. And I see large cat-like beings, animals, I'm not sure, but they looked like leopard or cheetah in appearance. They were large cats with like the markings of like a leopard or a cheetah. It wasn't a cheetah, but it was bulkier. It wasn't as lean as a cheetah. So I don't know what that has to do with anything. And I could see that this person struggled between the light and the dark for a bit. I see a woman in a black cloak that's covering her eyes and the top part of her head. She's holding white candles. She's drifting forward. And then that's when I start seeing hundreds of images being flashed of another location, like an old witch town. Not in this dimension though, but it's similar to like if you think about how you would imagine an old pagan town, but these houses, there's a lot of them even close together, but they're submerged in nature in a way. It's kind of like you have these houses, almost modern day houses, especially like modern brick houses that you would see in Philly, for example, but older and like in the woods. I don't know how else to describe it. And then I was seeing images of inside them, but the inside was wood. There were like herbs hanging upside down drying. Like, it's like if you mix old houses from pagan times before Christianity kind of like ran amok, like that style on the inside, but the outside was like brick-like. And yeah, it's weird. This is weird. I don't know. But like there was bridges, there were streams. I literally felt like I was in another dimension. I'm pretty sure I was. So I also get vibes that this person may have had multiple lives as a witch or a pagan or something to that effect. And they were very drawn to this lifestyle. And I started seeing caverns, like the old mining kind. And then my left hand started burning, and then I heard left-hand path. And I also feel like this person has confidence or low self-esteem issues. And then I was seeing flashes of like really creepy faces. And I drew one of many that I've seen, but yeah, he creepy. Okay, if you watch my channel, you know I hate when entities smile at me. It's a no for me. It's a ew, get away from me kind of vibe. And this thing, and by the way, its skin was white, kind of like the creepy killer clown white. And then its lips were black, and its mouth was black, its eyes were black. The way I kind of shaded it, I did it this way to like show the difference, because you could still see the lips, and you could tell that the lips were lips, even though they were black, and the mouth was like, it was like just black. But it consumes negative energy. It's like a dark hole, but like its mouth and its eyes. And then I saw some other beings. There were quite a few, actually. And so I feel like this being, whether she knew it or not, she was influenced by this being. And this being works with multiple beings. And they all looked similar, but different, like, facial, like, structures. And some had teeth, some didn't have teeth. Some had, like, scraggly hairs. Some of their heads were more pointed. And yeah, creepy. So I feel like she might have had depression and low self-esteem issues, but that might have been what kind of pushed her into the occult, or at least dark occult things. And guys, again, witchcraft as a broad term isn't negative. It's what you do with it that can be seen as negative. It's the actions and the intentions you put behind them. And so, yeah. But I know the whole point of this case, I mean, Christians had a field day. They're like, yeah, see, witch, evil, bad. But that's just one person, and in this case, she did bad things. And I think the murder was to get something in return from the entity she was communicating with, or they convinced her. Something along those lines. That's what I was getting. This case is kind of very simplistic in that way, because there's not many different kinds of twists and turns like many of the other ones. But that was the vibe I was getting from this case. Now, you guys, if you know more information about this case, please let me know if I missed something during my research. If I explained Beltane wrong, please correct me down below. I am not a witchcraft or Wiccan expert by any means. I barely know the minimum, okay? So if I oopsed, please correct me down below and educate me, because again, I am learning just like everybody else is. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. And I'm going to cut this video off. But see you soon. Peace out, Girl Scout, Boy Scout, everybody else, Scout, home slice, home fries. Yes.
Follow me. Hunted